Investigates now exposes serious questions tonight about what happened inside of a high school locker room.
Our senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel is about to show you what allegedly happened to a special needs student, and perhaps even more important, what did not happen.
Police are now investigating whether a special needs student was assaulted by football players at Roncalli High School. At the family's request, we are not showing the victim's face.
Going to Roncalli was something very important to him, so he's always just had this love and wanted to be a rebel.
Leslie Woodruff says her son's dream of becoming a Roncalli rebel came true last year when Jack enrolled as a freshman. The young man with Down syndrome loves sports, so he was thrilled to be a student manager on the football team. But this September, Jack told his mother something strange happened inside the football locker room. One of the players took video of him while he was using the bathroom.
The football player that did this told him he was going to post it to Snapchat. He was extremely worried that something had been put out on social media and that this video was floating out there, and he would have, kids were going to see this and he was going to be embarrassed by it.
Leslie told the school what happened and later learned other students had in fact seen the video of her son recorded in the bathroom. She says the football player involved got very little punishment, and a school official worked with that football player to erase the video without even looking at it.
The dean admitted that he was supposed to watch the video as part of his job, and by not doing so, he left us in a position where we would never know what was on that video because then he deleted it.
Nevertheless, Leslie Woodruff felt it was time to move on.
We left it and we thought things were fine, and a week later, I come home from work and there's an envelope sitting on my counter. And it just catches my eye because it's a handwritten envelope with no return address.
It was a letter from the parent of a Roncalli football player who saw something else in the football locker room that really upset him.
I couldn't even believe what I was reading. Probably the worst sucker punch I've ever had in my life.
What did that letter say?
This parent's child walked in and observed Jack being made to lick the nipples of another football player prior to the homecoming game. He was being held by that player by his head up against his chest.
When Leslie asked her son about the alleged incident, at first he denied that it happened. Then he broke down and admitted it and explained everything.
I asked him, how did they make you do this? Because I couldn't wrap my head around how they could put him in a position to do this. And he explained to us that they threatened him. They threatened to kill myself, my husband, and Jack, and they described in detail how they would cut us open and kill us if he didn't follow their instructions.
Leslie discovered school officials had already heard about the second locker room incident and had already interviewed her son, and yet they had not bothered to call her until several days later, after she filed a police report.
This is Tim Chrisman from Roncalli High School calling. They wanted to follow up with you on some things.
That's when Leslie started getting calls from school administrators and from the local archdiocese, which runs Roncalli High School.
This is Carla Hill. I'm the Victims Assistance Coordinator with the Archdiocese of Indianapolis.
They don't contact the victim's mom? Why wouldn't you do that?
Kurt Johnson is the family's attorney. He's angry the school did not call Jack's mom sooner, and when they did, it was to say they didn't find enough evidence to suggest anything wrong had taken place.
It's sort of like they got the answer that they wanted and said, we're done, we're good.
He says most disturbing is that the school did not take action after the first locker room incident to prevent another one just a few weeks later.
The coaching staff of the football team certainly didn't give it the attention that it needed in order to help prevent this. From where we sit, it's hard to see if they did anything to protect him. I mean, that's troubling.
Roncalli High School in the Archdiocese of Indianapolis would not answer any questions from 13 Investigates, other than to say they are aware of an incident that occurred between students, a report was made to civil authorities, and they are committed to the protection and well-being of students. But 13 Investigates has obtained this letter sent from the Archdiocese attorney to the family's attorney. It says, "Let me be the first to acknowledge how poorly this matter has been handled. Jack and his parents were let down by Roncalli and its coaches, and he was not offered the safe environment that he was entitled to."
It was just pushed under a rug, tucked away, in hopes that we would quietly go away.
Leslie Woodruff says she and her family are not going away because they want to prevent a similar situation from happening to another student.
And that's really why I'm here, is I want to see something positive come out of this.
Jack has withdrawn from Roncalli and is now attending a different school. His parents say he's in counseling because he's terrified every day that his former classmates will find him and hurt him. The police investigation is still ongoing.
Well, Bob's report first aired last night and caught the attention of a state representative. This morning, Representative Greg Porter told 13 Investigates he plans to reintroduce a bill that he hopes will help stop bullying in private schools like Roncalli. He tells us charter and parochial schools are not required by law to be as transparent as public schools when it comes to bullying.
They are immune to reporting incidents within their schools, and I think that's not right. If you're going to receive state dollars, you should be able to be adhered to like traditional public schools and report bullying incidents within your school.
Representative Porter went on to tell us he plans to reintroduce that bill during the upcoming session.